Hi, I'm Paul Epps. We're doing Leetcode, must-know interview questions. Today's challenge is H index. Excuse me. Um, Given an array of integers, citations, where citations at index I is the number of citations a researcher received for their ith paper, return the researcher's H index. This is going to be easier to understand with an example. According to the definition of H index on Wikipedia, the H index is defined as the maximum value of H such that the given researcher has published at least H papers that have each been cited at least H times. Okay, so looking at example 1 here. This researcher has published 5 papers, not because of the number 5 at the end there, but because of the length of the array. Each element represents a paper, and each number represents the number of times that that paper has been cited. So this researcher has 3 papers with at least 3 citations, the 3, the 6, and the 5. So 3 is the maximum number that we can use here. We can't use 4, 5, 6. So the H index for this case is 3. And let's look at how we can go about determining that. The first step is to we'll use an array to do this, but I haven't drawn it like an array. I mean, really what we're doing is creating a histogram of the citation counts. Or, I mean, you could also think of it as a counting sort. But we'll go through the citations array, one pass through the citations array, and we will, like I said, we'll create a histogram of the counts. So using example 1, the array is going to be 1. The length of the array that we create will be 1 longer than the citations array, so that we can use the indexes the way that we want to. All right, 3 is the first number in example 1, so we'll put a 1 there. 0, okay, put 1 there. 6, there is no 6. The reason that there's no 6 is because the H index can't be bigger than the number of papers. If the researcher writes 5 papers, the maximum H index would be 5. Now, even if one of the papers is cited 100 times, the H index can't be bigger than the number of papers that the researcher has written. So 6, anything bigger than the number of papers written just goes into the biggest number that we have, which in this case is 5, 1. All right, we'll put a 1 there, and 5. That's another one. Since this is a histogram, I'm just going to stack it on top there. Okay. Let's see. Second step. starting from the end of the array, in this case, index 5, we're going to count the number of papers. So starting with 5, the count becomes 2. If we go to 4, there's nothing. If we go to 3, we'll add another one. Count is now 3. If the count ever gets to be equal to or bigger than the index that we're on, which in this case is 3, that's the answer by the definition of the H index. The researcher has 3 papers with 3 or more citations, so that's what we're going to return. And let's look at how to implement this. Okay, I typed the code in here rather than type it real time because it translates, just almost exactly from the algorithm that we already walked through. So let's see. We're going to create an array called counts. Length is n plus 1, where n is the length of the citations array. Loop through the citations array. For every number in the citations array, if the number is greater than n, we can't have an H index that's greater than n. So if we have a number of citations that's greater than n, then we're just going to increment count at index n. Otherwise, we'll increment count at index I. So that takes care of the first part of the algorithm. The second part of the algorithm, declare an integer variable called count and initialize it to 0. We're going to loop through the array backwards. So the loop counter, I, starts at n. We decrement each time through the loop, and we add count at index I to the count. If the count ever becomes greater than or equal to the index I, then we return I because I satisfies the definition of an H index, which is that the researcher has published at least a certain number of papers that have been cited a certain number of times. So we return I as the H index. If we get all the way through this and we haven't returned anything, we're just going to return 0. That the researcher has no papers that have been cited at all. So let's run this and see what happens. Test result up here a little bit. All right, so the basic test case is passed. Let's submit. Okay, runtime. Well, 0. I mean, not exactly 0, but I guess it rounds to 0. Anyway, it's a good fast algorithm, and so that is H index. Feel free to like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.